Welcome back to Science Lab. The science are happening because Lord Jesus Christ is coming soon. Before the break, I asked you the trivial question of the day. Who was the first Indian Prime Minister to make an official trip to Israel?
Option A, Jawaharlal Nehru. Option B, Rajiv Gandhi. And option C, Narendra Modi.
The right answer is option C, Narendra Modi. In July 2017, Narendra Modi became the first Indian Prime Minister to visit Israel. Now, India and Israel, while they were not seen to be talking with each other, they were actually talking with each other a lot. Because before this, two key Israel leaders made visit to India. One in 1956, that was Israel Foreign Minister, then Moshe Sharett. During Suez Crisis, he came to India.
And 1977, shortly after the Morarji Desai Janata government came to power, Moshe Dayan, the legendary Israeli defense minister and general with a patch on the eye, he visited India. Both these visits were clandestine visits. In fact, the story of Moshe Dayan's visit was broken by a tabloid bills in Bombay. And that led to a big fears in India because Mrs. Indira Gandhi and others protested that how come an Israeli leader came to India.
At the same time, during the 62 war, when India was really short of equipment and technology, India had reached out to Israel for supplies. But India demanded or requested that the supplies come in ships, not carrying or not flying Israeli flags. And Israeli said, no flags, no arms. And so India did accept some weapons from Israel after 1962, which came in Israeli vessels. But after that, once again, there was a freeze. So 1992 finished that stage of hypocrisy. In 1993, the first major Israeli leader to visit India was Shimon Peres, who was at that point Deputy Prime Minister, but had been the Prime Minister later and President for 7 years, a great statesman and a liberal. So Shimon Peres came as a distinguished visitor when Congress wasn't on power. But that relationship still went up and down because within the Congress establishment, the old intellectual left influence that was very strong. And second was always the fear that somehow if you are seen to be causing up to the Israelis too much, the Muslims in India will get angry. And that's what held Congress governments back and then came out. Then came the Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee and things began to move. In fact, it was under Vajpayee that India bought the first searcher drones from Israel because Israelis are the masters in defense technology. Israelis don't build big systems, aircraft carriers, ships, submarines, but they build the best of the stuff that you need to put on these platforms. And that is what India lacks. You can buy a plane from 5 countries, but what you put on that plane or what do you put on a tank or what kind of muscles to your troops carrying to fight tanks, that stuff Israelis are very good at.
Now I list all the key systems that India is buying from Israel. They are search drones. The first one to be bought in the year 1996 to 1997. There is LR-SAM, which is long-range surface-to-air missiles, both for Navy and Air Force. There is MR-SAM, which is medium-range surface-to-air missiles.
There is the Falcon AEW system, which are fitted on IL-76 aircraft to catch aircraft and missiles coming from a distance. Some of these must have been used after Balakot. They are Spider air defense systems. It was used unfortunately in a friendly fire incident, but it shot down one of IAF's own helicopters, but very effective missiles.
Spice 2000, the bomb that was used at Balakot, Popeye, Crystal Maze, all these are smart bombs that Israelis made. There is Spike anti-tank missile, which has not just been negotiated, it's almost $1 million worth. There is a new radar system for Kolkata-class naval vessels. There are drones that carry explosives and jump into your target and self-destruct along with the target. And there are some really key things. There is also a comprehensive integrated border management system, CIBMS, which India set up with Israeli help all along the India-Pakistan border on the fence to electronically make the fence smart. Wherever the fence is, that is now a smart fence. So if somebody touches it, somebody does something with it, then some bells ring someplace. So all this is coming. In fact, so close is this cooperation that India has even imported 30 sniffer dogs from Israel, because Israelis are the masters on the finer aspects of security. So today, Israel is India's third largest defense supplier. Tiny Israel, the first is usually Russia, sometimes America. It changed a little bit. Third is Israel, and it's very consistent now. Now, this is the state of India-Israel relationship. Israelis had some complaints that in spite of all this relationship, whenever you have trouble, you come to us. When India had trouble in Kargil and they found that IAF was not able to target Pakistani battlements and Pakistani positions, they again went to Israel, got the laser parts to make their bombs smart, to make them laser guided, and that turned the tide in Kargil. Similarly now in Balakot, etc. You saw so much of the Israeli equipment that was used.
So Israelites complained that, why don't you come give us a proper embrace with open arms? Why you are always close your arms? So that is what Modi government has changed in its second term. In the first term, it is continued with the same old posture, bearing that one abstention and Israelites were disappointed with it. Netanyahu came to India in 2018. This was the one of the points that he has complained about. Now, this is the first instance that probably that those amends are being made.
Imagine the map of the world and look at the globe. Look at the Mediterranean at the one end and look at the Bay of Bengal at the other, west and east. From the Mediterranean to the Bay of Bengal, show me one country which became a democracy on the day it was formed and has remained a democracy since and has a total commitment to democracy. There are only two countries like that, Israel here and India there. Nothing else between these two countries is a true democracy.
Both countries are very argumentative. Both countries have many enemies in the world. Most countries have many positions which may be morally not easy to defend, but also positions that come from their own self-interest and their own national security interests. And those convert because these two democracies from Mediterranean to the Bay of Bengal both face the common threat of terrorism, and that's what makes them natural friends and natural allies.
But at the same time, what has changed in India that is unlike 60 years after independence? We have now stopped lecturing the Israelis was anti-apartheid, anti-Zionism, anti-West, anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist. It wasn't sufficient pro-India.
Now, starting with Prime Minister Narasimha Rao, post-Cold War, India's foreign policy became more and more pro-India. What happens in the rest of the world and what position India takes in the rest of the world is then defined by what it is India's supreme interest. And that's why the shift in Indian foreign policy towards Israel is a welcome change.
Isaiah chapter 27:6 says, Israel shall blossom and bud and fill the face of the world with fruit. Likewise, nearly 2000 years after its destruction, Israel blossomed again on 1948, and it is the supplying and supporting countries like India. What is foretold in the Bible is happening again in our lifetime. The budding of the fig tree, that is the nation of Israel, shows that we are living in the last days. Lord Jesus Christ is coming soon.
Thank you for watching this episode. Don't forget to tune into the Science Lab next time. Remember, signs are happening because Jesus is coming soon. Maranatha.